You ever get that sudden punch in your chest like something inside? You know a woman is thinking about you, but you can't explain. Why that quiet jolt of unease that hits before your brain can even form a thought? Stay with me, because that instinct isn't an accident. It's one of the oldest signals your psychology uses to warn you that something in your life is shifting. And today, I'm going to help you finally understand what that shift actually means. Before we dive deep, hit that subscribe button and like this video, because what I'm about to reveal will change the way you read female behavior forever. Here's what most men never hear directly from a woman when she's thinking about you nonstop. She doesn't start with romantic fantasies or daydreams. She starts with questions women feel first, but they think repeatedly. And that spiraling thought loop, the one no one sees, starts long before she gives you any physical sign. She becomes curious about your patterns, your tone, your intentions, even the way your silence feels. If you've ever sensed a shift in a woman before she said a word, it wasn't magic, it was emotional gravity. Women don't obsess over men they don't respect. They don't mentally replay interactions with men who make them feel small, dismissed, or unsafe. When she can't stop thinking about you, it's because you triggered something rare, a combination of unpredictability and emotional presence, and that's a dangerous mix for her mind. Dangerous in the sense that it pulls her in when she doesn't want to be pulled. The truth is, when a woman keeps circling back to thoughts of you, she starts analyzing things she normally ignores. The way you paused before answering, the way your eyes moved when she talked, the choices you make without announcing them. She becomes hyper-aware, not because you're confusing her, but because you're waking up parts of her psychology she usually keeps locked away. Most men miss this completely. They look for big signs, messages, calls, sudden affection, but a woman's internal shift shows up long before any of that. She becomes quieter around you, or unexpectedly bolder. She mirrors your timing without realizing it. She pays attention to the smallest friction between you. She doesn't admit it, not to her friends, not to herself, but her behavior starts shifting in ways she can't fully control. When a woman thinks about you nonstop, she becomes intensely aware of your emotional fingerprints, the subtle impressions you leave on her mind long after the conversation ends. She replays moments because she's trying to decode them, not out of insecurity, but out of fascination, and that fascination becomes a loop she can't shut off. You might notice her energy warming when you enter a room, or the opposite. She becomes strangely tense, almost guarded, as if she's trying to keep her thoughts from spilling out. That's not disinterest, that's emotional overflow. She's trying desperately to manage. Women feel deeply, but they also try to conceal what they consider unearned vulnerability. When you're on her mind, your presence exposes her, and she's terrified. You'll see what she's not ready to admit. One of the biggest signs shows up in her pacing, not walking pacing, emotional pacing. She hesitates before texting you back, not to play games, but because she's debating how to protect herself while still staying connected. She writes messages, deletes them, rewrites them. She wants to sound casual, but her thoughts are anything but casual. She's thinking about what you'll think about what she said. That's how layered her mind becomes when you're occupying her attention. Another sign is her sudden curiosity about your habits. She notices the time you wake up, the type of jokes you laugh at, the way your mood shifts throughout the day. She starts connecting dots that don't exist yet because she's trying to understand you without having to ask directly. Women think in emotional patterns, and once you become one of those patterns, she can't turn it off. But there's an even deeper sign. She starts imagining your reactions before she makes decisions. She wonders how you'd perceive her choices, not because she wants permission, but because she values your perspective more than she expected. When a woman starts mentally consulting you before acting, even in small ways, she's already far more invested than she's letting on, and she doesn't let her mind run this deeply unless something about you feels rare and steady. When a woman's thoughts keep returning to you, it's because her heart has already started quietly leaning in. Here's what most men overlook. It's not just about noticing you, it's about the emotional charge you create in her mind. When a woman thinks about you nonstop, she's cycling through emotional experiences that range from excitement to frustration, longing to fear, all within minutes. That intensity alone is addictive. She doesn't want to admit it because feeling so strongly about someone without their knowledge makes her feel exposed, but that exposure is exactly what keeps you in her thoughts. Men often confuse attention with attraction. But when a woman obsesses internally, it's not casual curiosity, it's a signal that you've triggered her emotional hierarchy. She's sorting you into a category reserved for people who matter, who could matter, and who make her feel things she's not used to feeling. You become a benchmark for her emotions. She asks herself, why do I keep thinking about him? What is he doing right now? Why did I feel that twinge when he said that? Those questions are mental fingerprints of fascination. Women don't think about men in isolation. Every interaction, memory, or gesture connects to how she's feeling. If she's stressed, you may feel like comfort. If she's happy, you're an unexpected spark. If she's unsure, she obsesses over what you might be thinking, and that keeps her mentally tethered to you. The longer she loops, the more she constructs narratives about what could be. These aren't fantasies, they're subconscious evaluations of compatibility, emotional safety, and desire. She imagines conversations, reactions, and possibilities long before speaking them aloud. That's why a woman thinking about you nonstop can act unpredictable. She's torn between what she wants to reveal and what she's afraid to expose. Her emotional tension isn't drama, it's evidence of depth. If you've ever felt her presence linger after she's gone, this is why she's building an internal map of you, your energy, your rhythm, your potential. She invests in this map even when she pretends she isn't. When you understand these patterns, you stop seeing randomness and start seeing connection. And now let's go deeper, because there are subtle signs most men completely miss when she's thinking about you nonstop. She might not message more. She might withdraw, become quiet, or even act irritated. That's not rejection. It's a tug of war between her desire and her fear. Her tone shifts. Her jokes change. Her attention sharpens. She mirrors your speech, your timing, your gestures without knowing it. She remembers details you forgot you said, not because they're important to you, but because they're important to her. She notices your absences more than your presence when you don't text. She mentally retraces everything, wondering if she did too much or too little. She checks your patterns without asking because her curiosity has turned into emotional investment. Then come the small reactions meant to test you. She may challenge your ideas, tease you lightly, or check whether your attention shifts. These aren't games, they're reassurance-seeking behaviors. She wants to know if you're anchored to her the same way she's anchored to you. Understanding this gives you insight into her emotional rhythm. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Her thoughts aren't casual, they're continuous, and she is trying to manage feelings she didn't expect. Her behavior becomes synchronized with your moods, your tone, your emotional shifts. She picks up on your subtle energy changes before you even speak. She notices your social interactions, your expressions, what others say about you. Her mind becomes a radar tuned to you. Even when she pretends to be indifferent, she withdraws. Sometimes not because she's done, but because she's overwhelmed. She needs space to manage the intensity and reassess her feelings. She's strategizing when to engage, how much to reveal, and how to stay balanced. She returns with more energy, curiosity, and attention because the absence didn't break her focus, it strengthened it. A woman thinking about you nonstop also imagines future interactions, playful moments, serious talks, even disagreements, all to understand how you would fit into her life. These aren't fantasies, but emotional evaluations. She rehearses possible outcomes to feel secure in the connection. The more she imagines, the deeper her subconscious attachment becomes, and she may fight these thoughts because they make her feel exposed, but that resistance is proof of how strongly she feels. When her thoughts revolve around you, it's not temporary, it's a psychological imprint. She starts framing her day with you in mind, evaluating choices, replaying memories, testing emotional safety, and imagining where you fit. She tests boundaries to see how you react. She observes consistency to measure trust. She studies your values, your stability, your emotional intelligence, because these things matter deeply when she's invested. This isn't surface-level attraction, it's internal anchoring. Once you become part of her emotional landscape, you stay there, even when she tries to deny it. And the more you understand this, the more clearly you'll see that every glance, pause, shift, tease, silence, or question is a window into her internal world. She's not just thinking about you, she's trying to figure out what it means, where it's going. And if you're someone she can let into the deeper parts of her life and psychology, this awareness is the key to reading what most men misunderstand, and the key to building connections that feel real, grounded, and powerful. When you recognize these signals, you'll understand she's not casually interested, she's emotionally engaged in a way she may never admit, but her actions reveal everything. Once you see these signs, you're no longer guessing, you're reading her emotional truth.